Hello, everyone. I'm back with another amazing podcast with one of the amazing guests I have today with me. Her name is Nida Irrum. And trust me, she is wearing multiple hats. And I think if I'm going to introduce herself, I'm not going to do justice. So I'm going to give the mic to her so that she can tell us about she's winning a lot of heads and how she landed into different things. So, Nida, thank you so much for taking out some time on this Sunday and being a part of my show. Please introduce yourself to my audience.
Thank you, Hassan. First of all, thank you for having me and giving this opportunity. And I think it's amazing to talk to like-minded people and to share your experience and your journey. So yes, I wear many hats. I am. You want to call me a training and development specialist? You want to call me an organization development specialist? I'm a practitioner. I have experience in digital transformation. I have managing projects in blockchain as well. So my work sits, I think, at the intersection of people and technology. So I think supporting organization and professionals through how they navigate changes and building a future ready force and building capability for individuals and translate the emerging technologies into tangible business values. I think this is something that I do. I've led initiatives across, as I said, workforce readiness, leadership development, digital transformation programs. And yeah, I think that's about it. If I would just talk about myself in a nutshell.
Great, great. Good to know. So, since you have worked in telecom, HR, project management, blockchain, now Gen AI, how did all these dots connect?
Well, there is a very famous saying by Steve Jobs that
Hmm.
you cannot connect the dots looking forward. You only connect them looking backwards. So I think that is exactly what happened in my career. I think every
Hmm.
role added to the dot. I think every point that I did, everything that I did in my career was a stepping stone. Like I think every grad. I did my engineering, and then I had the same linear approach in my mind that I'm going to have internship, and then I'm going to have a job, and the job is going to have structured role and defined processes and everything, and then I'll have clear hierarchies and all that. But it didn't happen. And when we talk about digital transformation, Hassan, I think back then it wasn't even in the vocabulary of people. People
Yeah.
didn't even know what the word means, or even I didn't know it existed. So I definitely didn't imagine where I am right now, but I always imagined growth. I always imagined learning how organization really works. So I think I was curious enough, and my habit of asking uncomfortable questions led me here through all these different dimensions.
Great, great. That's good to know. And what was the biggest challenge you faced as a woman leading technical and transformation projects?
Minus the technical and the digital transformation, I think your question should be what is the biggest challenge I faced as a woman in my career?
Okay,
Because,
let's do
yeah,
that.
because
Yeah.
this is something I think every woman, especially every working woman who's married, who has a family to look after and everything, or you're single, you face it. And that is not opposition, underestimation. Me being a woman is being underestimated on the table, being questioned more, interrupted more. I'm mistaken for support more than leadership, right? Just because that I'm a woman,
Okay.
you know? So early on in my career, I tried to overcompensate it. I did things that, I can do this, I can do this. And then later I learned that, that's not required. I think my consistency is required, my authority is required. Building authority is actually faster than the volume. So I clearly focused. And then there's a special place for all the women who do not support the other women in hell. So yeah,
Good one.
I take that very seriously, and I face that myself. Now in my career, I actually try building other women up and try not help them not to be perceived as somebody who cannot do it, who has a lesser brain or lesser skill set. So
Wow, I
yeah.
love your perspective and I like the pun in it. So that's very nice. And you're right. I think at the end of the day, it's all about changing the image, how people look at women. I think women can't do same things as men can do in terms of work, which requires brain efforts. You're spot on that it's high time we need to change the image, how to perceive women in terms of tech and
Absolutely.
in terms of
Absolutely.
perfect. I like that.
Yeah.
Good.
I would just add on to it as there is a role of a lot of women in it. They have led to a very different perspective about women
I
in
agree.
terms of tagging a lot of things and all that. What I believe is that, I'm not here talking about any equality regarding I can do everything like a man or whatever. No, that's not the question. I'm only talking about being given the equal cerebral opportunity, right? Being given the same seat on the table, if I deserve that. Not even in 2025, do not take me, she's a woman, she has to take care of her kids and all that, let a man take over. Maybe he has less responsibility or he has more focus. No, I think in a lot of fields, I think in every field, women have proven themselves as somebody who can do anything and everything, regardless of the race that they are running in their homes.
And I personally believe I give more credit to women in corporate world because I have a lot of female colleagues and a lot of them are married too. And I realize for me, I just need to come to the office, do my work, manage my team and all that. But for them, they're not just managing the teams, they're managing their children, they're managing their husband, they cook for them, they take care of everything. At the same time, they're doing a job. I think you all women deserve a salute, a standing ovation.
Thank you
So
for the
you guys are doing an
recognition.
amazing job, and it's not easy. So we all should acknowledge this, and I think you guys are doing an amazing job. Very nice. So you have worked in UK and Japan, and what did each place teach you professionally?
I think I'm very blessed to have this experience going places. First of all, I would recommend everybody, each women or men, everybody who's watching this podcast, to broaden your horizon. Do not stuck yourself in one place, and do not think that if you're having an experience in one sector in one country, that's enough. No, to broaden your own perspectives, I think it's very important. And now with the world being the global village, it's very easy for us now to have this multicultural experience. So, in terms of my own experience, Pakistan, it taught me resilience, it taught me adaptability. And I think the best thing that Pakistan has taught me, it has taught me to innovate with constraints. So, I think even thanks to the South Asian community, Jugaad is a word that is recognized by the Oxford Dictionary now.
Wow.
I think, yeah. So that's on a lighter note. But considering this, we are a very smart nation, and with all of this, I think there's internet problem, there's electricity problem, and then sometimes there's a workforce problem because there are security issues and all that. And with all of these constraints that we have, I think I learned to still keep moving forward. With the UK, I think it taught me structure, it taught me governance, it taught me stakeholder alignment. It's the dynamics of the place is very structured and it's very straight. And when we talk about Japan, I think we don't need to talk about it in terms of business only. We When we talk about it, we understand that by those people, we learn discipline, the precision, the respect not only for the individual but the respect for the process and the craftsmanship. I think I've learned the excellence that is built quietly, consistently, the patiently built excellence. I think that is something that I've learned in Japan. It is, and it stayed with me. I think it's down to that place for this. So, but together, all these cultures that I've experienced, I think I am what I am today. Learning to be empathetic with people, uncompromising with the standards. So, yeah, a different culture, same truth. Probably, I think excellence has no accent.
That's spot on. I think the more you travel, the more experience you get, and the more you add into your um, knowledge and all that. So spot on. Okay, I love this conversation, and it's going good so far. Okay, many companies talk about digital transformation but fail. Why does this happen? What do you think?
There are many reasons. I think the biggest reason that I can think of is treating digital transformation like a software installation. You
Mm.
know, not understanding it, not understanding the crux, the gist of it. They digitalize broken processes, right?
Mhm.
And expect magic. It cannot happen. They are focused on the tools. They ignore that the digital transformation is a journey. It's about changing behaviors. It's about changing the culture. It's about building up the capability. It's not just, again, as I said, installing a software. The real transformation, it's most of the companies, they don't commit to the process, which is messy, right? It involves a lot of unlearning, and then it involves a lot of reskilling. it has a lot of uncomfortable conversations, right? And without that technology, it just amplifies your job experiences, they exist in it. That is it. So if you actually want to digitally transform, you need to have those uncomfortable conversations. You need to be ready to reskill, upskill, unlearn. And I think this is one thing that, wherever I go, my first request to everybody is that start to unlearn to learn. This
Wow.
is a lifelong journey where you have
I
to
get it.
unlearn.
I think when you say unlearn, it's more about getting out of your comfort zone. People don't like to get out of their comfort zone and wanted to stay there. And change is not always welcomed and accepted easy way, in the most easy. So I think you're right. We have to unlearn certain stuff and learn. I mean, imagine few years back, we couldn't imagine ourselves having a talk face to face, recording all that stuff. I can talk to
Absolutely.
people around the globe using VR. I mean, tech is transforming and going crazy. And that time is not near when we can actually. I think all of us are going to wear some sort of glasses and interact with each other without even physically meeting each other, and that's happening in a lot of places. So spot on.
If you
It's
have
about
seen
unknown.
the new holographic project, I
Yeah,
mean,
I've seen that. I've seen that. Yeah.
what we don't understand is that tech is not just a software. It's not an app that you're
Yes.
going to install in your phone.
Yes.
it is a
Yes.
it is a change in your lifestyle. We
Yeah.
have Why do we have these generations, Gen X, Gen Y, Alpha, Beta? Why do we have these? You need to understand it, why we are dividing all these people into categories. There's a reason, and the reason is not that we are born in different eras. It's because that we're exposed to different set of technology. So me being a millennial, uh, I wasn't born with something, I adapted it. My kids are
Yeah.
born with something, and so they're a different breed. And this is what we, and even in the organizations, we don't understand that it's about adapting that change. And I think that
Correct.
is something that is.
100%. मिलके तब्दीली लाएंगे. Don't worry about that. All right. So let's talk about some blockchain. So blockchain has a lot of hype. What are the most practical use cases you have seen so far?
As I told you that I have worked in the blockchain sector, in terms of what actually people need to understand firstly, Hassan, is what blockchain is. They don't basically understand that what it is. It's a technology which is a system that is securely recording and sharing data across a network, right, of computers in a way that is transparent, that is temper resistant, that is decentralized. So when you understand this, quickly you can understand a lot of applications of it. Subsay common, we talk about blockchain, then everybody, I think people who don't even know what blockchain is, they would know crypto, right?
Yeah.
So then this is, I think, the most, and one very good news that I'm very happy about, that Binance is finally officially operating in Pakistan now.
I've seen that. Yeah.
So yeah. So I think that is one really really good news for us Pakistanis. So digital currencies enabling peer to peer transfer, which is without banking system. I think sooner than later, I think people will understand the ease of it. And then again, in the banking sector, faster and cheaper international payments, and then there are fare reductions, and there are secure record keeping. Then in smart contracts, blockchain is being used. Supply chain is one of the fields where blockchain is very handy. Let's talk
Okay.
about
Okay.
tracking products from origin to consumer, right?
Mhm.
Improving the transparency in terms of, and preventing fraud in terms of goods. In healthcare, I did a project in healthcare as well. There are multiple ones, but I did one myself. So what it can help with is securing the storage and the sharing of medical records, and again the privacy and accuracy of data. I can think of too many uses of it. We can just talk about it. There are NFTs, and there is digital identity.
Yeah.
So a lot of it. And I think with the digital ownership, I think that is one thing which would be very relatable, because we're doing a podcast, that the ownership of your digital art, your music, your content, your collectibles, I think this is something that blockchain is offering.
Amazing. I think that's a that's something which I've learned today. I was not aware of this before. So okay, good, good. Let's talk about your leadership style. So what you have led a large cross-functional teams. What leadership style works best for you?
Hassan, I think you have to be a situational leader rather than, this is from my personal experience. When I was
I agree.
somebody, at the bottom of the food chain. I think I was somebody who wanted, and I had a few mentors. I had certain people who were the leaders, as in leaders, sitting on the table in down, with their shiny desk and their big table, leather chair and all that. But I think I never learned from them. I learned from the people who were situational leaders, who were there for me to coach when it was needed, who were there for me to give me directions when it was required. So I think this is the type of leadership that I follow in my career. I do not sit with people and just, give out commands. I sit with people and see what my team is requiring. Every day is a different day. We're human beings. And, we are not 100% all the time. Sometimes my people, my team, are requiring directions. Sometimes they're requiring coaching. Sometimes it's a complete empowerment they're requiring for me. Sometimes the trust, they want the trust from me that, I trust you, go do it. There's a I think John Maxwell, there's a very famous saying that I use as usually in my trainings, and it says that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So I think when I read that line somewhere, I made that the principle of my leadership style. So it's not about
Spot on.
control. Yeah, it's about collaboration, I guess.
Agreed. And when I gave the interview for the first time for the Lord of Leadership, and the same question was being asked, what is your leadership style? And if you Google, you'll find 5 to 7 styles, which I actually don't care about. I told them my leadership style is just one style, that is formational leadership style. I love to transform people. I love to create my clones so that whenever the time is ready, we have ready-made people ready to lead the team. And you're right, it has to be situation. You need to be like a parent, right? You need to be harsh sometimes. You need to be very polite and soft sometimes. You need to show both versions. I learned this the hard way when I became a manager. I was like, let's manage people with some soft, hard, kind heart. Let's pamper them. And then realize the moment I need to switch gears and turn into a difficult person to deal with, they're like, listen, what are you doing? You're not like this. So I understand that you need to show both the flavors so that whenever which flavor is required, they should be aware that this is going to happen. So accountability is one thing which is very important. So yes, you're right. It has to be situational, and you need to change your leadership style based on the situation you have in place, and that's how I think people and teams can prosper. So you and I are aligned on this same concept. So I'm glad. Okay, how do you handle resistance when people are afraid of changes or tech?
I think just like tech, just like all other things, tech is the same.
Hmm.
You need to listen to people.
Hmm.
Need to resistance, I think it mainly comes out of fear, right? A fear of irrelevance, fear of failure, fear of loss. So when people generally feel hurt, the resistance actually turn into a dialogue. So when you tell them that this change is not something that is pressurized, it's not something that is, it is, we're going to do this and you have to face. No, I think you have to sit with people. Even now, when we go to clients and we talk about digital transformation and in moving them from one industry to the other, we sit and talk about their why. We sit and talk about their pain points. So we have to build that trust, and I think this is what I do to face the resist to handle this. And I think people, they don't resist change. Basically, they are resisting uncertainty, so they're uncomfortable with the unknown. So I think that is
Yeah,
something, when you address that, you win the game.
I think sharing the thought process behind the change is something
Yes, it's
which
very
is very
important.
important, and you're spot on.
And understanding and building that relatability to them. I'm bringing in a tool, tell them how it is going to be useful for them, right? If I'm there's a tool that currently we have implemented in major organization worldwide, and it changes the whole process in terms of removes all the papers, right, from your factories,
Hmm.
makes everything
Hmm.
paperless. So when you were talking to, it's when I talk to the CEO, it's not more relatable to him. For him, it is just the dashboard that he's going to see, and he's going to have the view about it. But I also have to go and talk to the shift coordinator, to the floor in charge, and I tell them, and the team goes and they tell them, how it is going to be easy for them, how it is going to make their life easier. So I think when they do
Mm.
that, the resistance automatically dies, because then they're not uncertain about it. They're maybe, the uncertainty comes from that, the basic notion about technology is that tech is replacing humans. So when you tell them that, you're not being replaced, your
Yeah.
job is just being eased out, we're just giving you an easy way out to do it, then they're easy and the resistance automatically dies. So I think you have to build that trust with people.
And educate people on change. Absolutely spot on. And I think to add on to whatever you've said, it's also important as a leader to share your personal success stories with them so that it will make more sense that this guy has done this and this was the result. So if we follow this, this is going to be the result. So showing the success stories of your personal experience is also going to be cherry on the top.
Absolutely, absolutely, I agree to that. And that is something that I've been doing, and currently we are also doing in our projects. When we go to client, we tell them that, in your relatable industry, in your relatable role, that this thing has already been implemented, so it gives them more
Mm.
confidence to implement that in their own field.
Even so I'm handling team of sales, and I normally teach them that if you're talking to the customer and we deal with the expansion or upsell, and I tell them, just you just said that you need to create a FOMO, fear of missing out, right? So if you don't do this, this is what you're gonna lose, right? So
Yeah.
if you do this, and this is what you're gonna get. So I think to create a fear of missing out is also helping me a lot in terms of how people look at change and accept that.
Very interesting point. Yeah, I
Yeah,
totally agree
yeah.
to it. Yes.
Yeah. All right. So you're deeply involved in learning and development. Why do most corporate trainings fail?
One sentence, because the
Okay.
learning ends when they go out of the door.
Mhm.
I think this is something that I have seen in most of my trainings. Most of the trainings, again, as we were talking about, we don't create the why. Even with the employees, when we are sitting with people, we're not telling them why are we giving you this training. Why this training is important. Even I remember back in the days, there was a training related to mindset change and motivation and all that. And my team lead enrolled me into that. And at that time, I thought, why? Why? You think I'm not motivated enough? You think that my mindset is not right? And the training that I took, I think I don't even remember half of it. It's because that I was sitting there half-heartedly. So, two factors. One, when you're sending somebody for the training, please tell that person why is that person being sent there or why is it necessary. And that also, because learning is treated as an event, not as a system. One training workshop day, 2 days, 3 days, that event ends, the whole thing wraps up. Practice without reinforcements, without accountability, the training fades. It is supposed to. You have to practice it. There has to be a, what is the ROI? How are you calculating it on your investment, right? And
Correct.
I'm not talking about the investment in terms of your money. I'm talking about the investment in terms of your time and your employees. They're your assets and you're making investment on them. How are you doing that? So learning only sticks when it is continuous and it is applied. And without application, it is just an expensive motivational day out of the office. And that's it.
And you can flex by putting some pictures on LinkedIn and
Yeah,
tell
that's it.
people
I
that
think I
this is
think
what we do.
that's excited, delighted to be part of the day, 1 day training. Oh, I'm so up till here reading these kind of posts on LinkedIn. But anyways, that's another conversation for another podcast, maybe.
And you're right. I think understanding the why factor is very important, be it your internal stakeholders or be the customer. I normally give example during the trainings that if you're talking to the customer and customer is denying something, like he's saying, I don't like this, or maybe I'm not interested in the product which you're offering me, understand why. Because if, let's say, and I tell them, consider yourself as a doctor. There are two types of doctors. One is a good doctor, a bad doctor. Good doctor is when you go, sorry, the normal doctor is when you go, let's say you have a stomach pain, you go to the doctor and you tell him that I'm feeling a lot of pain in my stomach. If he's not well educated and he's just an ordinary doctor, he's gonna write a Risic for you and tell you to eat and you're good. But maybe the serious issue is happening in my gut. If it's a serious doctor or a more educated doctor, he's gonna probe, understand what's happening, and give you the solution, which is going to be a permanent solution or temporary one. And that's how your problem is going to be resolved. So I tell them, act like a consultant, act like someone who's an advocate, understand the why factor, and then see where the problem exists, and then train. And I think similar formula applies to the training part. That understanding why am I sitting in that classroom for training is very important. And adding on to this, I think it's high time the CEOs of the company, should make sure that their employees should understand the vision. I did a small experiment. I think I posted a small link on LinkedIn as well. When I hosted the last HR event, there were Gen Zs, there were millennials, there were some senior people too. And I asked Gen Zs, "You're working in an XYZ company. What is the vision of your CEO?" And they started telling me about the business plan. No, I need a vision. And no one was able to answer. When I asked one of the CEOs sitting over there, "What is your vision?" And his vision was entirely different from what is the business plan and what is the vision. So when you are saying that people should understand why they're sitting, I think they should understand the vision, why a company, and if as I see, if I know the vision, I am going to own that business, and my approach in terms of execution is going to be totally different if I am aligned with the vision of the CEO.
Absolutely. I think,
Sadly, that's not
yes,
happening.
absolutely. Music to my ears, what you're saying. So this is something that, Hassan, what happened after 2020, a lot of things went online. And with
Hmm.
that, a lot of, we were open to this new horizon of online training and, having these programs, LinkedIn Pay and all of these other platforms. They have some Coursera. So they have all these. I think they're great. But what happened is that the CEOs, the organizational head, they stopped seeing the importance of training and development. They stopped seeing the importance of how it contributes to the overall organization development, to the overall. Even when you talk about sales and numbers, all of these things matter. It's not just about having more. How will you have more customers? Because you will train your team to sell better. How will you have better products? Because you will train your teams to produce better. So this is something that with the passage of time, especially, I think I will blame a COVID a little for this, that the importance of it actually went behind in a lot of places. And people say, oh, we have online course available for this. Oh, we have online course. Just do that. Just do it. Without purpose, without the vision, without having this trajectory made for your own team, how would you expect anybody to give you that kind of output with one free or even with one paid online course when they don't know how it is actually coinciding with your vision? How will be they motivated?
100%. Spot on. Okay. If you could go back 15 years, what advice would you give your younger self?
I think I would tell myself to trust my instinct more. Stop waiting for validations. Stop waiting for permissions. I think this is something that I would tell myself. As I mentioned earlier as well, that being a woman, and then I started off in telecom sector, and back then there were not a lot of women who were in telecom, especially on the tech side. So I did a lot of things that I should have done to seek the validation professionally. There were a lot of things where I trusted, a lot of other things where I should have trusted my own instinct. But yeah, again, Hassan, I think wherever you have been, whatever you have gone through, good or bad, that is all of it all together contributes to who you are today. So
Correct.
I think I'm pretty happy where I am today. So yeah, if I can, I would just tell myself to listen to your own self more. But again,
Right.
I think everything shaped me up who I am.
Correct. I think it's about a lot of experience, a lot of things you have been doing in the past. So collectively, it's like a gym. You work out and you become a better version of yourself in terms of your body. So yeah, you train a lot.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And as you mentioned as well, that your change is out of your comfort zone. So maybe a lot of time where I failed, a lot of time where I was not given the kind of appreciation or the position or the thing that I actually wanted, I think that gave me more fuel to work harder, to work in the direction of where I am now. Otherwise, maybe I would have been sitting there, maybe one organization, 15 years, no change.
No, I agree with you. And I think appreciation does wonders. I've seen that. Even a small appreciation is has a bigger impact if we understand how important it is. But normally we tend to highlight the bad stuff and we tend to be a little late in terms of appreciating people. I think this is also something which we should be doing more often. Okay,
Absolutely.
let's wind up and start. I'm going to ask you some fun questions now. and
Okay.
then we'll end the podcast. I don't want to do that, but I'm actually thoroughly enjoying the conversation. But maybe we can have another podcast in the future. So, if you were not in tech, what career would you choose?
Wow, interesting. Hassan, I always wanted to be a writer. That is
Okay,
something. Yeah.
okay,
My father used to write. My sister, she's in both my sisters, they're excellent poet. My brother-in-law, he has published his books. So my husband belongs to the family of Zia Mohyuddin. So
interesting. Okay,
I mean, this circle around me. My brother, he's an excellent writer and an excellent painter. So I've always wanted to be a writer. And I do have a couple of plots of two different novels in my head. But yeah, maybe someday I would write.
okay,
Sometimes I think about writing about how to adapt to changes, how to adapt for my younger generation, how to adapt to all this tech and still be human between all of this. So maybe even now,
I
if
see.
I get the chance. Yeah.
Okay, okay. One tech buzzword you secretly dislike.
Oh my God, you're going to hate me for this, but I'm going to say it out now: digital transformation. People don't know this. People
Yeah.
just don't understand the word. They just use to flex it. Digital transformation. No substance. There's no intent, but they just use it. And everything is just transformation. Everything is just digital transformation. I think now people have started having this idea that maybe, moving from Android to Apple or probably it's digital transformation. I'm just absolutely I don't understand this anymore. So yeah.
Okay, good, good. Coffee or chai during long work days?
Coffee all the time. And fun fact, I have never ever tasted tea in my entire life.
Wow. Are you for serious?
Yeah, never. I do
Okay,
make good tea, but never tasted tea entirely. So yeah, coffee for me.
okay. Another interesting question. What's one skill people assume you have, but you actually learned the hard way?
Okay, interesting. Okay, now if I say it out loud, people are going to know that I didn't have it. But they should know that I have it now. I think the executive presence.
I love that topic. Oh my God. Okay, good.
Yeah, this is something that I've learned over the years. I have learned
Okay.
through experience. I have learned through mistakes. I have learned through being in difficult rooms. That was not talent. That was not something built in. And that is not something that confidence gives you entirely. You
Yes,
have to
yes.
be
It's a
in those
separate
rooms.
game.
Yeah,
Yes.
this is separate.
I can
So I think this
understand
is,
that. I can
yeah.
feel that, right? I think a lot of people don't understand. It's okay to assume that people are not even well versed with this term of executive presence, right? Maybe our next podcast is purely on executive presence because I love this
Mhm.
topic and I've seen people in my career, in my life, who have excellent executive presence. No matter how knowledgeable you are, no matter what kind of experience you have, if you don't have executive presence, you're not worth it, right? At the end
True.
of the day, I think I'm a big believer of self branding, and that's what I've been doing in going to different universities, colleges, help people understand why self branding in this era is important. You are a digital, you can say, an entity, and it's very important for people to understand who you are, how you operate, and what are your expertise. So digital, not digital transformation, but digital presence and self branding is something which is very close to my heart. I've been doing that. I've been getting a lot of results out of that. So I agree with you. Last question, in fact, second last question. What excites you the most about future of work?
Um, a lot of things actually. Um, the we are actually transforming from, I remember in my childhood it was more about become a doctor, become an engineer, and it was more degree based, right? Now the whole ecosystem has evolved and it is more skill based now, right?
Correct.
It's trust driven leadership that is coming out in the open. It's what people also don't understand, that the technology is more human centric now than in the previous days. So I think these things excite me a lot, because I think where skills, adaptability, and continuous learning matters, that is where change begins, and that is where the excitement begins. So yeah, the future belongs to, I think, to the leaders who build trust, who empower, who gives autonomy, who create safety psychologically, and who measure success by collaboration and impact rather than control, and actually assess people based on their skill set rather than on their degrees. So I think that is
Whatever you
something.
said, whatever you said about the leadership at the end of this conversation, I was thinking about a text message I received from one of my teammates. He used to work with me. Now he's moved to a different company and he resigned recently. And I'll share that message with you after this podcast. And he exactly wrote the same lines that you gave me a chance to grow. You saw some potential in me. Whatever you said, I have a practical example of my own self. And I think I uploaded that on LinkedIn too. And that's what I believe that as a leader, I mean, I think the formula is very simple. In order to be a good leader, you need to be a good human being. It's that simple.
Absolutely.
It's not rocket science, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm so glad that I get to talk to you. Kudos to you for doing this, and more power to you. I hope I have more stories like this coming out that Hassan empowered us.
Inshallah, inshallah. You know what? And there's also one of the success story I always mention to different people. I also believe the reason why I'm doing podcast is I think it's my moral duty. Whatever I've learned in my 15 or 16 years of experience, I think it's my duty to share that with people out there. Maybe someone is gonna learn and get help. Just to share a small example, 2 or 3 years back, I thought to start creating video series on interview skills. I started with 2 videos and then I couldn't make it up and I stopped. But the surprise was I actually created a small 2 or 3 minutes of video, a generic video, how to answer generic interview questions or initial screening questions. And guess what? After 1 month, I got a big note from one of the random person on LinkedIn, and he said that I owe my success to you. And I was like, how? How can you owe your success to me? It's like I was struggling hard in terms of giving interviews and answering those questions, and I stumbled upon on one of your videos. I applied all those techniques which you shared, and guess what? I got a job in Procter and Gamble.
Wow.
So I mean, the small thing which I just did, maybe for fun or maybe for my self branding, had a biggest impact on the person sitting out there. So I think it's very important that you should share these knowledge with people out there, and maybe there's someone who's going to learn and practice that, and that's going to be a win for both of us.
Absolutely. The fun part of, apart from the fun part of being a trainer, you get to connect to people. I think this is one of the most key factors for me to be in this field is because that, the impact that you see on people's lives sometimes. Sometimes they come back to you and they talk about all of these things and then, we attended that workshop that you did or we followed your advice and here we are and thanks to you and I think it feels beyond amazing and you cannot put into words
The
how
thing
you
I feel
feel.
over here, I can't explain in words. Yeah,
I
you're
know,
right. You're right.
I know,
Okay.
I know. So it's amazing.
Thank
So
you so much, Nida, for being a part of my show. I totally loved the conversation we had. And definitely, I'm going to invite you in future podcasts to talk more about different topics. Once again, thank you so much. It was
thank you so
lovely
much.
having you in my show.